The story begins in Munich, where an older man practiced certain phrases in front of a mirror. In reality, he is the hitman disguised as an elderly man, whose appearance he stole after hunted him. That evening, he takes on a janitorial job at an office building as part of his preparations. While setting up for the kill, a secretary interrupts him, becoming his first victim. The sound of the gunshot alerts a security guard. Pursues his target, a young man named Elias who tries to escape using the staircase. With precision and skill, the assassin wounds him in the leg. Once he corners Elias, the hitman fires a second shot into the other leg and deliberately misses his head to intimidate him. Stepping onto the balcony, the killer tosses smoke grenades below and rappels down into a crowd to make his escape. Back at his hideout, the hitman removes his disguise and looks at himself in the mirror, reflecting on his work. The next day, he assembles a high-tech sniper rifle in his hotel room. He scopes out the hospital area, observing military snipers on the roof and guards at the entrance. Testing his rifle's accuracy, he adjusts his aim with a shot at a wall. Once satisfied with the setup, he waits for his target. Soon, Manfred Festa, a potential future chancellor, arrives at the hospital to visit his son, who was allegedly injured in a failed assassination attempt. As the politician exits his car, the hitman pulls the trigger. The sniper methodically packs his rifle, leaves a bomb under the bed, and exits before the police arrive. He drives away, letting a convoy of police vehicles pass him, and later swaps cars in an underground garage. The bomb explodes, erasing traces in the apartment, followed by the first car igniting in flames. This incident catches the attention of MI6 agent Bianca in London. She is intrigued by the impossible shot, achieved from a distance of 3,815 meters, surpassing the previous confirmed record of 3,540 meters. Reviewing video footage, Bianca notices the suspect's unique custom rifle, crafted by Irish gunsmiths, and decides to use her contact to track him down.
When I saw your number, I almost had a stroke.
Meanwhile, the hitman, known by his codename Jackal, receives a message from a new client offering $10 million for a job. The client is willing to pay $1 million just to have the hitman consider the proposal. Jackal agrees to meet at a lake in Sweden. There, he encounters the client, a woman named Zina. She reveals the target, Charles, a billionaire IT specialist.
Who's the target?
Dag Charles.
Charles plans to make all global financial operations transparent and expose the owners of illegal wealth threatening the existing capitalist order. Wealthy individuals are prepared to pay handsomely to stop this initiative. Jackal demands the payment be increased tenfold to $100 million.
He's clearly capable, but $100 million is a hell of a lot of money.
After the meeting, he returns to his villa in Spain, where his wife, Nuria, waits for him.
I wasn't expecting you until next week.
Jackal contacts his Munich client regarding payment, but the client attempts to cheat him by canceling the transfer and cutting ties. Concerned this might damage his reputation and deter future clients from paying, Jackal decides to investigate. The Jackal arrives at a Munich bank to address a revoked payment, interrupting his son's birthday celebrations without hesitation. Focused solely on his mission, he ensures all arrangements are made discreetly. His wife, Nuria, reluctantly drives him to the airport. The tension between them is palpable, especially when he switches to a taxi instead of allowing her to take him further. Along the way, he retrieves a forged passport from a safety deposit box. Nuria, watching him from a distance, grows increasingly suspicious. Her mind churns with doubts about his fidelity as she reflects on his secretive behavior and recalls their once stable life. The thought nags at her.
You have no idea where he is or what he's doing.
Mama.
Despite these suspicions, she convinces herself he's still a good man at heart, a belief she clings to despite mounting evidence to the contrary. As the Jackal makes his way to Munich, he receives a call from Zina, a contact well acquainted with his line of work.
I've spoken to my colleagues, and we feel there's a deal to be done.
She arranges a meeting to discuss the intricacies of their next operation. During their rendezvous, Zina informs him that their employers have withheld the full $100 million promised payment. Instead, they've offered a mere $20 million advance.
I am authorized to pay you a commencement fee of $20 million.
With the stipulation that the target must be eliminated before the program's launch. The Jackal's cold demeanor shows no surprise, but the slight shift in his gaze betrays his frustration. Together, they devise a series of coded signals to ensure seamless communication during their operation.
We'll use the codename Rodan for the target.
Later, the Jackal's methodical mind leads him to a bank, where he uncovers the name of a suspicious company, PJ Pump.
The payment was made from a company account, Helelinia.
Digging deeper, he discovers it's a shell corporation tied to Elias, the son of the politician he had previously assassinated. His suspicions sharpen, suspecting Elias as the mastermind behind the attempt on his own life. Meanwhile, MI6 agent Bianca, persistent and meticulous, pieces together a profile of the killer from surveillance footage. She deduces the assassin is likely a white male under 50, right-handed, and a former British soldier with extraordinary marksmanship. Determined to uncover his identity, Bianca sifts through military academy records,
We need them to go through their records.
searching for a soldier whose sharpshooting skills stood out. Acting on a tip from an informant, she ventures into Belarus on a covert operation entirely off the books. The target, however, is prepared. Anticipating their approach, he rigs the area with explosives, ensuring their efforts end in failure. In London, Bianca's superior voices concern over a potential mole within their team, cautioning her to tread carefully.
Immediate extraction from X-ray now.
30 seconds out.
Simultaneously, a tech expert provides Bianca with a critical lead, revealing that the gunsmith she is investigating has maintained frequent contact with someone known only as the Jackal. The pieces of the puzzle are beginning to align, but time is against her. Back in Munich, the Jackal escalates his vendetta. Disguised, he infiltrates a funeral home responsible for arranging the services of Manfred Festa, one of his recent targets. With precision, he hacks into the organizer's computer system, identifying an employee whose identity he can assume. The Jackal coldly neutralizes the man, hides the body in a car trunk, and adopts his role, blending seamlessly into the environment. At the same time, Nuria, driven by suspicion, begins digging into her husband's secret life. Searching his study, she uncovers a hidden safe and an elaborate secret room concealed behind a mirror. Her discovery is chilling, a fully equipped laboratory for crafting disguises, stacks of cash, fake passports, and an arsenal of weapons. The truth about her husband's double life begins to unravel, leaving her stunned and uncertain of her next steps. The tension comes to a head at Manfred Festa's funeral. Elias's sister stirs the mourners by discussing inheritance matters during the ceremony, highlighting the fractured relationships within their family. As Elias departs in his car, the Jackal, now disguised as the driver, seizes the opportunity. In a coldly mocking tone, he comments on Elias's leg injury,
Wie geht's dem Bein?
a remnant of their last encounter. Without hesitation, he eliminates Elias's bodyguard and evades the trailing escort cars in a chaotic chase through the quiet German streets. Parking in a secluded alley, the assassin confronts Elias, whose bravado quickly crumbles. Desperation fills the air as Elias attempts to justify his betrayal. He blames his actions on the trauma caused by his injury and confesses his dark secret. He had hired the Jackal to eliminate his father, but things went disastrously wrong. In a trembling voice, he admits that anger and fear drove his decisions, but the Jackal, unmoved, ensures Elias's fate is sealed. The Jackal meticulously stages Elias's confession, ensuring it is overheard by a nearby security guard through a dropped phone. His icy precision serves as a grim reminder that antagonizing a professional assassin, even from the shadows, is a fatal mistake. Without hesitation, he dispatches Elias, planting a bomb in the trunk of the car as a final touch. Escaping to the subway, the Jackal blends into the crowd. Moments later, the car explodes, obliterating all evidence before authorities can intervene. On an escalator, he watches CCTV footage, bitterly observing as his wife, her mother, and her brother discover his secret laboratory back home. Their horrified reactions further solidify the unraveling of his carefully constructed double life. Leaving Munich behind, the Jackal's sharp focus falters momentarily when he is distracted by a bird soaring above. The lapse results in a collision with a delivery truck. The truck driver, an honest and principled man, refuses the Jackal's bribe to avoid police involvement, citing strict employer policies. When the police arrive to inspect the scene, an officer's sharp eyes catch the weapons and cash in the Jackal's bag. Realizing the situation is spiraling out of control, the assassin acts swiftly, eliminating both the officer and the truck driver. He stages the aftermath to appear as if the two had killed each other in a chaotic shootout, ensuring his escape remains undetected. Determined to salvage his crumbling life, the Jackal contacts Nuria, inviting her to Paris to resolve everything.
Paris.
Yeah.
After swapping his car's license plates at a secluded garage, he sprays the interior with acid, meticulously erasing all traces of fingerprints and DNA. Upon meeting Nuria at their hotel, he offers a carefully constructed confession. He admits to lying since the day they met, but claims his work revolves around industrial espionage for billionaires, using fake identities and bribery to collect sensitive information.
This is all going to be over. It's going to be done. I'm through. I meant that.
He denies being a killer, framing the weapons found in his possession as tools for emergencies, promising that his current assignment will secure their family's financial future forever. He reassures Nuria that they only need to wait 2 weeks before their life can finally begin anew. His heartfelt promises resonate, and Nuria, despite her doubts, chooses to believe him once again. Her trust rekindles a fragile bond, though the unspoken tension between them remains. Meanwhile, Bianca, tirelessly pursuing leads, investigates a firearms instructor who hesitantly recalls a soldier named Dagan.
Alexander Duggan.
Known for extraordinary precision, Dagan was reputedly capable of hitting targets from an almost unimaginable distance of 4 kilometers.
You have your English miles.
2 miles.
However, the instructor insists Dagan has been dead for over a decade. Bianca, undeterred, tasks her assistant with digging deeper into the mysterious figure. She then proposes to her superior, Isabel, to bring her trusted colleague, Vince, onto the team.
I need him reassigned to this op.
Over beers in a dimly lit bar, Bianca confides in Vince, sharing her suspicion that she has a lead on the Jackal's next target.
Contracted for another hit.
Who's the target?
Her voice drops to a whisper as she admits her fear of leaks within the agency, leaving her unable to disclose specifics. Vince's unwavering support and confidence strengthen her resolve to press forward despite the mounting challenges. The Jackal, meanwhile, arrives in Tallinn, where Uli Charles is poised to present Reka, a groundbreaking program that promises revolutionary financial transparency. To prepare for his mission, the assassin attends a concert at the venue, meticulously testing its security systems and evaluating the layout. Breaking into the technical area, he climbs onto retractable panels, identifying an ideal sniper's vantage point. As he navigates the precarious structure, the panels suddenly activate, nearly sending him plummeting to his death. Dangling from a cable, he drops his phone, which clatters onto the floor below. With a mix of grim humor and self-chastisement, he mutters about almost becoming the first assassin to accidentally end his own career. Once safely back on the ground, the Jackal approaches Rasmus, a friendly security guard, and enlists his help to locate the lost phone.
I need that phone.
Rasmus calls the number, and the two retrieve the cracked but functional device from the now empty hall. Striking up casual conversation, the Jackal uses the opportunity to build rapport, subtly saving Rasmus's number in his phone before departing. Returning to his hotel, the Jackal is met with an unexpected visitor, Xena, who has somehow tracked him down. Her calm yet ominous demeanor reveals that his recent vendetta against Elias Festa has displeased their powerful employers. Xena cautions him against stirring unnecessary trouble, particularly with individuals who wield such financial and political influence.
If you don't deliver, it will take extreme measures.
She advises him to consult with Stock, the Irish gunsmith, hinting that the situation may require his expertise. The Jackal listens intently, his sharp mind already piecing together the next steps in his complex and perilous mission. Strolling along the riverside, the Jackal's sharp eye catches a girl wearing an orthopedic boot. Her appearance sparks an ingenious idea for his next move. Wasting no time, he contacts Stock, the injured Irish gunsmith, and proposes a new project. Despite his injury, Stock agrees to collaborate. Intrigued by the Jackal's unconventional request, the assassin heads to Budapest, where Stock has been lying low.
Go to the southeast corner of the square.
Upon arrival, the two craftsmen begin developing a custom sniper rifle disguised as an orthopedic boot, relying on a 3D printer to fabricate the necessary components.
4 or 5 hours to write the program, and then another 10 hours to print.
As the printer hums away, the Jackal probes Stock about his injury, suspecting there's more to the story than the gunsmith admits. Stock recounts a harrowing escape from MI6 agents.
Not me. I saw her all right.
Woman.
Black woman.
Crediting his survival to a mysterious tip-off. The Jackal listens with mild amusement, doubting the tale's veracity, and quips about Stock's talent for theatrics. The following day, their labor bears fruit. With the rifle assembled and concealed within the boot, the Jackal prepares to test the weapon. Stock hands him specialized ammunition and cautions that the 3D printed rifle is essentially a single-use tool, capable of only 8 shots before failing. The Jackal, ever resourceful, keeps his trial shots to a minimum. In a secluded field, he paints a crude face on a watermelon to serve as a target. After 2 precise adjustments, his 3rd shot obliterates the fruit in a spectacular burst, confirming the rifle's deadly accuracy. Satisfied, he returns to the workshop to finalize preparations. However, as he approaches the hideout, the Jackal's instincts alert him to a suspicious vehicle parked nearby. Inside, MI6 agents Bianca and Vince, having tracked Stock through his captured brother, prepare to apprehend the gunsmith. The Jackal warns Stock of the impending raid, but the gunsmith, exhausted and rattled from a sleepless night, is ill-equipped for a confrontation. A tense gunfight erupts, and despite Stock's valiant efforts, he is subdued and captured by the agents. Before Stock can be interrogated and potentially betray his client, the Jackal eliminates him with a single, precise shot from the custom rifle. The agents, realizing the Jackal's presence, return fire, forcing him to act quickly. Spotting a stable nearby, he mounts a horse and makes a daring escape into the dense forest. Bianca gives chase, determined to apprehend him. The pursuit becomes increasingly perilous as the Jackal skillfully navigates the rugged terrain. In a moment of desperation, he shoots Vince, wounding him and buying himself crucial time. Despite Bianca's relentless pursuit, the Jackal evades her by leaping off a cliff into a river below, vanishing into the rain-soaked night. Exhausted and drenched, the assassin finds refuge in a farmer's barn. He hides the custom rifle in a pile of hay and collapses, hoping to regain his strength. His respite is short-lived. The farmer, armed with a shotgun, discovers the intruder. A tense confrontation follows, with the Jackal attempting to disarm his host. However, the farmer knocks him out with the butt of his gun and ties him up, leaving him unconscious. By morning, the situation escalates. The farmer drags the restrained Jackal into his house, bringing along the peculiar rifle as evidence. He contacts his brother, who enlists Laszlo, a worker fluent in English, to serve as a translator. Through Laszlo, the farmer offers to release the Jackal in exchange for payment.
Yeah, so I have money and I can pay him. Do you understand me?
The assassin, ever calculating, agrees to the terms, masking his true intentions. Meanwhile, the farmer's brother learns from a local officer about an armed fugitive in the area. Seizing the opportunity for both a reward and vengeance, the brother hastens to the farm with Laszlo. Unbeknownst to them, the Jackal has already freed himself, and in a swift and brutal knife fight, he kills the farmer and takes his shotgun, steeling himself for the next confrontation. As the brother arrives and discovers the grisly scene, he spots the Jackal attempting to steal a car. A gunfight ensues, and the experienced assassin eliminates the brother with ruthless efficiency. Laszlo, realizing resistance is futile, surrenders and agrees to drive the Jackal to the city. On the way, the assassin confiscates Laszlo's phone and uses it to call Nuria. For the first time, the Jackal's voice carries a rare vulnerability. He admits to his wife that he's in trouble.
I managed to get myself into a bit of a mess,
confessing that he might not make it back. Nuria, shaken but still loyal, offers her help. The Jackal instructs her to retrieve specific items from his hidden room and deliver them to Budapest, providing her with the tools he needs to stay ahead of his relentless pursuers. Arriving in the city, the Jackal contemplates eliminating Laszlo to cover his tracks. However, a moment of hesitation changes his mind when he notices a photo of Laszlo's family on the man's phone. Memories of his time in Afghanistan resurface, faces of innocent civilians caught in the crossfire, families shattered by violence. The memories stir something within him, prompting an uncharacteristic act of mercy. He spares Laszlo but delivers a chilling warning. If he speaks a word about their encounter, his family will face severe consequences at the hands of others less forgiving.
And they will kill your wife and your child in front of you.
That evening, Nuria arrives at the hotel where the Jackal is waiting. Tension fills the room as they argue about the risks he continues to take. Despite her frustration, she watches in fascination as he transforms himself into an elderly man. Using makeup, prosthetics, and the orthopedic boot, he becomes almost unrecognizable. Before departing, the Jackal reassures her that his final mission will secure their future. He bids her farewell at the airport and boards a flight to Tallinn, coincidentally sharing it with MI6 agents Bianca and Vince, who have been tasked with protecting Uli Charles. Seated a few rows away, the Jackal instantly recognizes the agents and subtly eavesdrops on their conversation, piecing together their plans. After landing in Tallinn, the Jackal retreats to his hotel and removes his disguise. His calm is briefly interrupted when police officers knock on his door, investigating a reported theft on the floor above. Maintaining his composure, he answers their questions with casual indifference, deflecting suspicion.
I'm an architectural engineer.
Once they leave, he contacts Rasmus, the security guard he befriended during his earlier reconnaissance. Inviting Rasmus out for drinks, the Jackal uses the outing to deepen their rapport and solidify his cover. After the night out, he casually stays at Rasmus's apartment, blending seamlessly into the local environment. The following day, the Jackal heads to a library to obtain architectural blueprints of the concert hall. Analyzing the plans, he identifies potential sniper vantage points and escape routes. Later, he meets with Xena, instructing her to distract the MI6 agents to ensure they remain occupied and out of his way. Armed with copies of the blueprints, the Jackal returns to Rasmus's home, where he poses as an architect working on a project involving the venue. Impressed by the Jackal's fabricated credentials, Rasmus offers a private tour of the hall before it closes for Charles's upcoming presentation.
After tonight, no one's getting in or out without special permission.
During the tour, while Rasmus chats with his colleagues, the Jackal covertly explores restricted areas using the guard's access card. He meticulously inspects ventilation shafts, lighting rigs, and other technical zones, seeking the ideal sniping location. Once his survey is complete, he feigns departure, thanking Rasmus for his help. However, instead of leaving town, he doubles back to the concert hall disguised as a guest, once again utilizing the orthopedic boot as part of his cover.
That's probably the boot.
Under the guise of blending in with the crowd, the Jackal makes his way to the roof and secures himself in a concealed position. There, he assembles his custom sniper rifle, cleverly disguised within the boot, and begins his 2-day stakeout. The isolation tests his mental and physical endurance, but he remains focused. To pass the time, he performs exercises in the cramped space, sharpens a bank card into a lethal blade, and revisits memories of his past, both haunting and bittersweet. Thoughts of Afghanistan linger, interspersed with tender moments shared with Nuria. His determination is unshaken. Meanwhile, Bianca and Vince work tirelessly to construct a composite sketch of the Jackal. Their efforts pay off when a police officer recognizes him as the suspicious guest from the hotel.
Hi, we have a police officer who recognizes a facial...
The agents rush to investigate but are ambushed by gunmen before they can proceed. Surviving the attack, they quickly deduce that the Jackal's true objective lies at the concert hall and race to secure the venue. Security teams, aided by police and sniffer dogs, sweep the area, but the Jackal's hidden location remains undetected. The day of the presentation arrives and the concert hall fills with high-profile guests and VIPs eager to hear Charles unveil his revolutionary program. As the host introduces Charles, praising him as a modern genius, the Jackal readies himself. Crawling into position, he silently eliminates a guard and a technician with the sharpened card,
Never surrender.
leaving no trace of his actions. Nestled among the rafters, he steadies his rifle and waits for the perfect moment. When Charles finally steps into view, the Jackal takes the shot. To his frustration, Charles makes an unexpected movement, causing the bullet to miss its mark. Before he can recalibrate, chaos erupts. Bianca, observing from the ground, quickly deduces the presence of a second shooter. The hall descends into panic as organizers, unwilling to seal the exits, allow the crowd to flee in a frenzy. Seizing the opportunity, the Jackal blends into the panicked mass. Disguised as a regular attendee, he slips away unnoticed, his mind already calculating the next move in his deadly game. Amid the chaos of the fleeing crowd, Rasmus spots the Jackal and, recognizing him from their prior interactions, approaches with friendly familiarity. However, before he can speak a word, the assassin acts with ruthless efficiency. A swift, calculated move crushes Rasmus's windpipe, leaving him lifeless on the floor. Without hesitation, the Jackal melts back into the crowd, ensuring there are no witnesses to identify him. As law enforcement and MI6 agents secure the concert hall, they uncover the Jackal's sniper nest. The discovery confirms his presence, but provides no clues about his next move. Meanwhile, the Jackal's photo begins circulating on national television and social media, complicating his ability to move freely. The sight of her husband's image on the news horrifies Nuria. Ignoring his earlier warnings, she calls him, desperate for answers. The Jackal reassures her, urging her and her family to remain silent and dismiss any similarities between him and the composite sketch if questioned. His calm tone masks his growing unease. Back at MI6 headquarters, Bianca exhausts her immediate leads. Realizing she needs deeper insights into the assassin, she requests access to a classified dossier on Doggin, a legendary sniper. The file is so tightly restricted that her superior Isabel must personally appeal to high-ranking officials for clearance. The bureaucratic hurdles are immense, but Isabel's connections secure access under strict conditions. Bianca and her team are allowed to read the file under supervision and must sign non-disclosure agreements. When they finally open the dossier, the information appears sparse. Officially, Doggin was a decorated Special Forces sniper presumed dead alongside his unit during a covert mission. However, buried within the file are hints of a darker truth, revealed through flashbacks. Years earlier, Doggin, a sharpshooter of unparalleled skill, was stationed in the Middle East with his spotter and close friend, Gary. On one mission, the pair spent 6 grueling hours in a desert hideout, waiting for the perfect opportunity to eliminate a Taliban leader. When the shot finally came, Doggin executed it flawlessly, earning accolades from his superiors. Afterward, the team was granted leave in Cyprus to recover. During their downtime, a shadowy figure approached Doggin and Gary at a bar, offering them a lucrative deal. The man represented an influential businessman in Turkey who needed a dangerous rival eliminated.
He's a very important man. There would be no risk.
Tempted by the promise of wealth, Doggin and Gary agreed. They executed the mission with precision, assassinating the kingpin and escaping undetected. However, their growing ambitions were thwarted by the constraints of their military service, forcing them to put their plans on hold. The turning point came during a high-stakes operation to capture a target at a wedding. Doggin, ever vigilant, spotted a sniper and neutralized him, but not before the enemy fired a shot. The situation spiraled into chaos, resulting in the deaths of civilians caught in the crossfire. To cover up the massacre, the commanding officer ordered the execution of survivors and an airstrike on the site. Officially, the incident was framed as an ambush. Doggin, disillusioned but bound by duty, followed orders and kept silent. On a later mission, Doggin made a fateful decision. As his unit approached a suspicious object on the road, he stopped the convoy and investigated with Gary. The object, a child's bicycle, was rigged with explosives, part of a trap Doggin himself had orchestrated. Once his team was in position, he detonated hidden charges, eliminating the entire unit. Turning to Gary, he insisted that they had no choice but to vanish, faking their deaths to escape the horrors of their past and the chains of military service. Back in the present, Bianca pieces together these fragmented truths. She tracks down Doggin's former commander, now terminally ill. Through relentless questioning, she learns that Gary was not only Doggin's closest ally, but likely the key to understanding his current whereabouts. Bianca theorizes that if Doggin survived, Gary might have as well. However, before she can pursue this lead, Isabel unexpectedly orders her to terminate the investigation. Officially, it's due to resource limitations, but Bianca suspects deeper political motives at play. Frustrated but undeterred, she resolves to continue her search, even if it means operating outside official channels. The Jackal moves to the final stage of his mission, traveling to Croatia, where Charles resides on a fortified private island. Determined to finish this job and retire, he reassures Nuria that his dangerous life will soon be behind them.
I kill people for money.
Say it again.
I kill people for money.
You don't know me!
I kill people for money! Is that what you want to hear? Is that enough?
However, his plans are disrupted when Nuria's impulsive brother reveals that he has recklessly invested the family's savings with a notorious Cuban gangster and arranged a meeting to fix things. Nuria, torn between her husband's deadly profession and her brother's catastrophic choices, begs the Jackal to intervene and protect their family from ruin. Reluctantly, the assassin agrees and devises a plan. He arranges to meet the Cuban at a coastal hotel, coordinating the details through Nuria's brother. While the gangster and the brother wait inside, the Jackal positions himself several kilometers offshore in a small boat. Equipped with a gyroscopic rifle system, he calibrates his scope for the perfect long-range shot. When the moment comes, the Jackal's marksmanship doesn't falter. He eliminates the Cuban with a single precise bullet. The incident makes national news, drawing the attention of Bianca, who immediately suspects the Jackal's involvement. Returning to Croatia to complete his primary objective, the assassin hires a boat and a local captain to transport him near the island. To ensure silence, the Jackal eliminates the captain with cold efficiency. Alone in the boat, he meticulously tests his equipment, firing a preliminary shot to confirm the rifle's accuracy. As Charles begins his daily swim, the Jackal prepares for the kill. However, a passing boat creates disruptive waves, forcing him to recalibrate and wait for the water to settle. Meanwhile, Charles's vigilant security team uses a drone to monitor the surrounding waters. Spotting the suspicious boat, they dispatch a guard on a jet ski to investigate. The Jackal is forced to act quickly, using one of his limited bullets to neutralize the guard before activating electronic countermeasures to disable the drone. The unexpected disturbance raises alarms on the island, prompting heightened security measures. Despite the escalating risks, the Jackal remains focused. Watching through his scope, he tracks Charles, who is now accompanied by a bodyguard. When Charles resurfaces in the water, the assassin takes his shot. The bullet, however, strikes the bodyguard, who shields Charles at the last moment. As the target dives and swims toward the shore, the Jackal recalibrates, studying Charles's movements. Timing his second shot perfectly, he fires just as Charles emerges for air. The bullet finds its mark, completing the mission. The Jackal immediately starts the boat and speeds away, heading for the mainland. Upon reaching the shore, he abandons the boat and transitions to a stolen car. However, his escape route is blocked by a police checkpoint. With no alternative, he accelerates through narrow streets, outmaneuvering the pursuing officers in a high-speed chase. Despite his exceptional driving skills, disaster strikes when a young child suddenly runs into the road. Swerving to avoid the child, the Jackal crashes into a barrier. The car flips over and catches fire, leaving him trapped in the wreckage. A passing truck driver notices the crash and stops to help. Disoriented but unwilling to leave witnesses, the Jackal feigns gratitude before pulling a gun on the driver. He steals the truck and drives it to a secluded location, where he thoroughly douses the interior with fuel. Ensuring no evidence remains, he pushes the truck off a cliff, watching as it explodes on impact. Continuing on foot, the Jackal stumbles upon a campsite occupied by an elderly couple. Pretending to be a traveler injured in the crash, he convinces them to drive him to the hospital. However, once on the road, the situation takes a sinister turn. The Jackal reveals his weapon, coldly redirecting their route toward the border instead. Tension fills the car as the couple exchanges nervous glances, unsure of what fate awaits them.
And please don't worry, because this will all be over very soon.
At the border, heightened security is on high alert following Charles's assassination, with guards meticulously inspecting vehicles. As the elderly couple drives toward the checkpoint, the tension in the car becomes palpable. Suddenly, in a moment of desperation, the woman pulls out a concealed knife and stabs the Jackal in the back. Startled, but still composed, he struggles with the pain as the elderly man seizes the opportunity to grab the gun. The ensuing scuffle is chaotic and brutal. Despite his initial reluctance, the Jackal fatally shoots the man. The woman, refusing to back down, lunges at him again, forcing him to fire another fatal shot. Staring at the lifeless bodies, Jackal's expression hardens, but a flicker of regret crosses his face. He mutters under his breath about the needless bloodshed before hastily wiping the scene clean. After a quick inspection of the border patrol from a distance, he realizes that crossing here is no longer viable. Later that evening, Jackal contacts Nuria. His voice, tinged with exhaustion, conveys a mixture of relief and weariness. He assures her that his mission is finally complete and promises to leave everything behind.
I promised this was the last job and it's done,
he says, trying to reassure her. He proposes a vacation for their family, a fresh start, away from the chaos that has consumed their lives. Nuria listens silently, torn between hope and skepticism, as Jackal insists that brighter days are ahead. The following morning, Jackal meticulously disposes of the camper. Using a makeshift explosive crafted from a microwave, deodorant, and other items he finds in the vehicle, he creates a controlled fire. The explosion obliterates the camper and any evidence of his presence. With nothing left to tie him to the scene, he picks up his suitcase and walks down an isolated road, blending seamlessly into the vast expanse of the countryside. Meanwhile, in London, Bianca confronts her superior, Isabel, with a bold request to follow up on new leads in Spain. Bianca believes the assassination of the Cuban gangster and Charles's death are connected, suggesting a personal vendetta tied to the Jackal. Isabel, however, dismisses the idea, citing political sensitivities and pressure from higher-ups. When Bianca refuses to back down, Isabel terminates her from the investigation and orders her to cease all involvement. Later, Isabel meets privately with the foreign minister, who is directly linked to the Jackal's affluent American employers. The minister reveals the grim reality. The employers have decided to eliminate all loose ends. This includes Bianca, who will be tasked with tracking down the Jackal before being quietly removed herself. Isabel, recognizing Bianca's determination, covertly advises her to complete the mission off the record.
If you think you have a lead, follow it.
With Vince's support, Bianca prepares to take matters into her own hands. In Spain, Bianca and Vince locate Jackal's home and set up surveillance, waiting for his return. That evening, they observe Nuria leaving the house with her son, hastily getting into a taxi. The agents remain hidden as Jackal arrives shortly after, visibly puzzled by his family's absence. The weight of their departure begins to settle in, but his contemplation is interrupted by a call from Xena. Her voice is tense as she warns him that their mutual employers have dispatched assassins to eliminate them both. She advises him to prepare for an all-out assault. Unbeknownst to Jackal, MI6 agents have already infiltrated his home, their search interrupted by an unexpected arrival. Nuria's drunken brother. Belligerent and heavily armed, the brother barges into the house, calling out for her. His erratic behavior escalates into a shootout with the agent. The commotion echoing through the building. Jackal, hearing the chaos, uses the distraction to his advantage. He cuts the power, plunging the house into darkness. Bianca responds by triggering the fire alarm, hoping the noise will force Jackal out of hiding. Amid the disorienting sounds and flashing lights, Jackal maneuvers through the shadows with practiced precision. He eliminates Vince with a calculated shot from above, leaving Bianca to face him alone. The standoff intensifies as Bianca and Jackal exchange fire in the darkened house. Despite the danger, Bianca attempts to negotiate, offering him a deal. She proposes helping him expose their mutual employers in exchange for his cooperation. Bianca appeals to his familial instincts, promising to aid his reunion with Nuria and their son. Jackal listens silently, weighing his options. Ultimately, he rejects her offer, confident in his ability to handle matters on his own. Using his tactical expertise, he outflanks Bianca and delivers a fatal shot. As her body slumps to the floor, the fire alarm falls silent. And the house is once again consumed by eerie stillness. Time is running out for Jackal. He rushes to the airport, desperately attempting to contact his son. His calls go unanswered, and frustration mounts as he realizes Nuria has discarded her phone to avoid being tracked. The tension escalates when another vehicle slams into his car from the side, cutting off his call and sending him spinning into uncertainty. Back at MI6 headquarters, Isabel confidently steps into Osset's office to share news of her promotion. Osset, however, appears distracted. His concern over the deaths of agents Bianca and Vince weighs heavily on him. Two of our best operatives lost.
But we've lost 2 officers, so you'll forgive me if I'm not feeling celebratory,
he remarks, shaking his head. Isabel brushes off his concerns, coldly asserting that Bianca's insubordination left her no choice.
Bianca's death is Bianca herself.
She concludes with a tone of finality. Osset remains unconvinced. After Isabel leaves, he unlocks his desk drawer and retrieves his phone, where a saved message from Bianca waits. In it, she details Isabel's true role in ordering her to eliminate the Jackal off the books. As Osset rereads the message, his face darkens with a mix of guilt and resignation. He knows exposing Isabel could threaten his own position and potentially destabilize MI6. After a long pause, he sighs deeply and deletes the message, ensuring no trace of Bianca's revelation remains. Meanwhile, in a bustling European city, a tram pulls into the station. Among the passengers stepping off is the Jackal, dressed in a tailored suit that contrasts sharply with the fresh scratches and bruises on his face. The recent chaos is still evident in his appearance, but his demeanor remains calm and controlled. Passing by police officers, he casually adjusts his jacket, exuding an air of confidence that ensures he attracts no undue attention. The Jackal walks through a crowded plaza, weaving effortlessly between tourists and locals. He arrives at a bench shaded by a tree where Xena sits waiting. Her eyes scan the crowd nervously before settling on him. He sits beside her, leaning back casually, as if they're old friends catching up. Their conversation is tense, but deliberate. Xena brings up their shared predicament. The powerful employer who not only failed to deliver the promised $100 million, but now wants them both eliminated.
I know you don't like an unpaid debt.
She says, her voice laced with frustration. The Jackal listens intently, his gaze fixed on the bustling plaza. Though his expression remains stoic, his clenched fists betray his anger. Xena suggests striking back against their mutual enemy, proposing a coordinated effort to expose the employer's operations and ensure they both survive. The Jackal nods but remains non-committal.
There's someone I gotta find first.
Xena raises an eyebrow, but doesn't press further, understanding his need for discretion. She hands him a dossier containing information on their target, along with a burner phone, before standing up and disappearing into the crowd. His mind drifts to Nuria and their son. He pulls out his phone, scrolling through photos of his family, his expression softening briefly. Determination replaces the fleeting moment of vulnerability as he rises from the bench and walks away, blending seamlessly into the city's thrumming life.